Today, what I really want to discuss was intergenerational colorism. So I think that every now and then we hear these terms and we have an idea, but I don't know that we always have the deepest idea of what they mean. And while I cannot say that I'm going to deepen your understanding of it, I do want to make sure that I'm discussing it for people who maybe not have heard it. So intergenerational colorism or intergenerational texturism is basically this idea in which the colorism is passed down from one generation to the next. So what happens is you have this, like that video from a while ago, you know, the sweet, beautiful, dark skin, just little Hershey kiss. And basically saying that, you know, she wish she was something else, that she wish she wasn't so dark, that she thinks that she would be prettier if she were lighter. A 6-year-old doesn't get that in a bubble, y'all. A 6-year-old does not wake up in the morning and decide that they want to be something other than they are. What happens is this is something that is gifted toward them. So when I say gifted toward them, it's one of those like fucked up ugly sweaters that somebody in your family gave you for Christmas type thing. It's that shit that you don't want. And intergenerational colorism and texturism is that thing. So what that means is that sometimes we get it from our mamas. As in, our moms have gifted us this idea that we would be pretty if we were lighter, if our hair texture was different, and the intergenerational hurts around it just continue to be perpetuated on. Your hair is so nappy, it's unmanageable. You're gonna break the teeth in my comb. I can't even comb it. So we end up having these hair stories that are really trauma-based stories about times that our parents, aunts, uncles, whoever was all up in our hair basically was just like, don't look presentable. These type of things and how they impact us and what we think and how then that can get passed down. So while mama gave it to us, some people think that I'm blaming mama. I'm not. Mama got it from somewhere too. At least I'm not just blaming mama. Mama has to take responsibility for the things that she did not heal, that she passed on. And some of that is also passed through bloodlines, actually. There's the stress, the cortisol, the things that happen in your body also impact your ovaries and can impact pregnancies and can live on through the DNA of any progeny that you may have. So it can pass that way as well. So I don't want to forget that. But what I'm talking about is how our unhealed things we unconsciously give to our children and give to their children and so forth and so forth. So mama gave you something and you might in this moment be like, shit, my mama did give me that shit and that thing make me mad, but mama got it from somewhere and grandmama got it from somewhere and great-grandmama got it from somewhere and great-great-grandmother got it from somewhere. So with this, when we're looking back and back and back and back, I want to make sure that we're always looking back far enough to remember that Black folk did not get this shit in a bubble. That we have been living in a white supremacist world that values whiteness and values the things that seem to come with it, the certain hair texture and skin tone and facial features, that these things have been valued and we have been denigrated generation after generation for what our shit looks like. This means that we have work to do to undo our own hurt so that we do not pass it on. Oftentimes when I hear about people who are coming to therapy to work with me on colorism, texturism, they're talking about they just had a daughter and they don't want to pass that shit on. They don't want them to feel inferior in their skin tone. They don't want them to feel a lack of love for their hair texture, that we don't want to pass that stuff on. Well, one of the ways that we make sure that we don't pass it on is that we work it out. We have to recognize our own shit, but also I believe in the power of mapping that shit all the way back to where it came from. So in sex therapy, we do a sexual genogram, which is basically to say what messages you got from parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles. So you basically are looking at this entirety of your family and the things that they gave you. Well, for the work that I do in therapy, I also have people mapping out the things that they learned about their skin tone and their hair texture from family. And sometimes that, I know for Black folk, that also means fictitious kin. These are your family. If they're your family, they're your family. So that play cousin is your cousin. So all of them, where we got all these messages from, that's part of our work. And that's why I'm always saying, you know, therapy is my jam. And I think that you should be in therapy too. I think that therapy definitely is a great way to work it out, but I also understand that everyone can't come. So cocoa butter and hair grease, this book right here, is another great way to begin that work, as is, the very many children's books that you can get. But in the end of the day, the things that you pass on that you have failed to acknowledge in yourself will be passed on unconsciously from one generation to the next. That's what we mean by intergenerational colorism and texturism. All right, y'all, I'm out.